When parents are in trouble, that's why you should have never been born. Stop. I forcefully covered my mother-in-law's mouth. Do not utter those words here and now. Don't hurt James any further. You are unfit as a mother. No, you are disqualified as a human being. You damn hag. I grabbed my mother-in-law's collar in a fit of emotion. My name is Emily, and I work at a publishing company. I've been with my husband James for 25 years. Although we got married 5 years ago, we've known each other since we were in 2nd grade, sharing joys and sorrows as childhood friends. I met James at a park near my parents' house. I've always been active, and while other girls were engrossed in playing house or make-believe, I often went to the park to play hide-and-seek or tag with the local boys. During such times, I encountered my future husband when he was just 8 years old. On that day, I headed to the park alone, looking for someone to play with. There he was, sitting on the swing in the empty park, my future husband. "Hey, why aren't you playing?" I asked, but he remained silent. "Hey, can you hear me?" I grabbed his shoulder and shook him roughly. "I can hear you." Ouch. Stop it. What? You can hear me. Sorry. Hey, are you free? Yeah. Ever caught a cicada? No. Well, I have. Let me teach you. I don't want to. Dragging my reluctant future husband along, I forced him to join me in catching cicadas. From time to time, he was seen in the park and I persistently called out to him. At first, he was reluctant, but they gradually became friends. Being still quite young, I failed to notice the circumstances he was in, and I would ask him direct and challenging questions. "Hey, why are you always alone? Do you have siblings?" "Yeah, I have an older sister." "Lucky you. I'm an only child. Why doesn't your sister come to the park with you?" "I don't know." "Don't you play with friends?" "You're always alone." "You're alone too." "Oh, right. We're both alone." At that time, I was carefree and laughing, not realizing how tactless my remarks were. And so, as time passed and we started playing together, something happened. "Hey, are you feeling a bit down today?" "You're always down, but today you seem even more down." "Not really." "You always say, not really." "Not really." "Oh, there you go again." When I laughed, a loud noise came from his stomach. "Are you hungry?" "Not really." "Not really, huh? Come to my house. Mom will make some sweets for us." "No, I won't go." "Come on. Let's go." As if it were a regular event, I grabbed his arm and, despite his reluctance, dragged him to my house. "Mom. I brought a friend. We're hungry, so give us something to eat." "Welcome home. Will you say, 'I'm home' when you return?" "Both of you, wash your hands and come in." As we washed our hands, the delightful smell of cookies filled the air. When James and I took our seats, my mother offered us homemade cookies. "Here you go. And what's your name?" "I'm Emily's mother." "Nice to meet you." "I'm James." "James? Cool name." James, encouraged, took a bite of the cookie. Then, he quietly shed tears. "What's wrong? Didn't you like the cookie?" James silently shook his head. Seeing him like that, my mother said, "Feel free to come by any time," and James just nodded. When James left, my mother said to me, "Bring James over again tomorrow. Let's have an early dinner together." At that time, I didn't understand the meaning behind my mother's words. I learned about James's circumstances when I entered junior high. Although we attended different elementary schools, we ended up in the same junior high. We had talked about how exciting the entrance ceremony would be, but James had a somewhat uneasy expression. On the day of the entrance ceremony, I was shocked when I saw James. While everyone else wore brand new uniforms, James's uniform clearly looked worn out, and the hem was frayed. When our eyes met, he quickly looked away. "James." I called from afar, startling him. He started running in the opposite direction. However, there was no way he could outrun me, and I caught up with him in no time. I firmly grabbed his shoulder. "Why are you running away?" "I'm not running away." "But you knew I was calling you, right?" "Don't talk to me inside the school." "Why?" "Oh, you get it already, right? My family can't even afford to buy me a proper uniform." I always wear tattered clothes, so I have no friends. You have plenty of friends, don't you? If you're seen with me, you'll lose your friends too. I don't really care. You're a weirdo. I get that a lot. And so, from junior high to university, we spent the same time at the same school. James was very talented, always ranking at the top in both junior high and high school. Since we always studied together, I owed my good grades to him. In high school, he started working part-time and seemed busy, but his grades never suffered. He was diligent. He successfully earned a scholarship for academic excellence in university, and his tuition was waived for 4 years. By that time, he had gathered the basics with the money from his part-time job and no longer wore tattered clothes. And so, we entered the job hunting phase. James secured a job with a major company through the sole recommendation slot from the university's dean. As for me, it was quite a struggle. After the 15th attempt, I managed to land a position at a publishing company. Despite being busier than anticipated after entering the workforce, James and I managed to meet frequently, maintaining our relationship unchanged. One day, as usual, we were having dinner that my mother made when James suddenly stood up. Surprised. What's wrong? Emily. Yes? Marry me. What? Oh my. A public proposal? No, we're not dating. Oh dear. Weren't you two dating? We're not, but I want to get married. Yeah. Okay. Yes. And so, in the fall of our second year as working professionals, after 15 years of knowing each other, we got married with 0 days of courtship. We registered our marriage without holding a wedding ceremony, and there was a reason for that. It wasn't until our 15th year together that I met my husband's family for the first time. I knew he had an older sister, but I didn't know anything else because he never talked about his family. When I was finally invited to his parents' house, I was astonished. It was a stylish Western-style house on a large piece of land. As I stared at the exterior of the house with wide eyes, my husband laughed and said, "Surprising, isn't it?" and murmured, "That's the kind of house it is." When my husband opened the front door and said, "I'm home," there was no response. But the sound of the TV was audible. Someone was definitely at home. When my husband opened the living room door, his mother and sister were there. "I'm home. I told you I was getting married. Nice to meet you." Neither his mother nor his sister turned towards us. I went in front of the TV, greeted them loudly with "Nice to meet you," and they glared at my husband instead of me. "Who's this woman?" "The person I'm marrying." "What?" "We don't need your report." "Right, Mom?" "That's right. Do as you please." So, this was the family environment my husband grew up in. Well then, excuse us. They completely ignored me. Well, then I'll do as I please. Don't cause any trouble. Got it. On the way home, my husband remained silent. "James, your house was a mansion." "Yeah." "The garden was beautiful." "Yeah." "James, your family was mean." "You're not supposed to say things like that about someone else's family. You know that, right?" My husband burst into laughter. "That's a relief." He's laughing. "I see, I'm sorry. No, it's fine. It's the truth." After that, my husband talked to me about his family. When he was in the 1st grade, his parents divorced, and his father left the house. After that, his mother's attitude towards him changed abruptly. He was constantly told by his mother, "I don't want to see your face. You look just like him." Only his sister, who resembled their mother, received affection. It was a cruel story, especially considering that children are innocent. That's why I felt unwanted. "I see. Then I'm glad I got you. Thank you for getting me." My husband smiled with a very gentle expression. Despite the terrible attitude from his family, my husband seemed somewhat relieved. And so, after registering our marriage, we started living in my parents' house. We began looking for land to build a new house. After about 6 months, we found suitable land, purchased it, and entered into a contract with a housing company to build our new home. However, in the 3rd year after the completion of the house, my husband was assigned to work overseas. His assignment would last for 3 years. We would have to live apart for those 3 years. Although it was lonely, he would come back after 3 years. I threw myself into work. Every day, we never failed to exchange emails and phone calls. Gradually, we became accustomed to this lifestyle, and before we knew it, 2 years had passed. Today is the day my husband returns temporarily after 6 months. I geared up from the morning and prepared dinner. In the evening, the intercom rang. James is back. Welcome home. I energetically opened the door. Huh? It wasn't my husband. My mother-in-law and sister-in-law, whom I had almost forgotten, were standing there. Get out of the way. What? If you're standing there, we can't come in, can we? No. I have no intention of letting you in. As I tried to close the door, the two grabbed it tightly. It was a losing battle against the two of them. Fail to close the door. Let us in. No. Aren't you my daughter-in-law? No, I'm not. Move aside quickly. The sister-in-law tried to grab me. What the hell are you doing? Stop it. My husband, who had returned by taxi, pushed the sister-in-law aside. James. Aren't you supposed to protect your big sister in a situation like this? I'm protecting my wife, of course. Since they said to let them in, I refused. I don't want them here. From today, we'll be living here, so the two of you should leave. Huh? Really, what? Both my husband and I were equally dumbfounded. Understood? Now move out of the way. No, I don't get it. My husband and I, working together, prevented their intrusion. We're about to lose our dwelling. In times of trouble, family members should help each other. According to my mother-in-law, my husband's childhood home was originally built on leased land, and the contract was ending this year. Faced with the prospect of losing their residence, they came to our house without notice. Since you're our family, just obey us quietly. That's right. Who do you think raised you all this time? James? Are you okay? No, it might not be okay. Then my husband exploded in anger. Family. Who? My family is Emily and Emily's parents. You two are not family. I may have memories of being abused by you, but there is not a single memory of kindness. When I got married, I told you not to cause trouble, right? Now you're causing trouble for us, the couple. Leave. Yeah, that's right. It's really annoying. Please leave. How dare you speak so insolently as my daughter-in-law? Emily is not your family. I became Emily's husband by changing my last name. What? I changed my last name, so don't consider yourselves as my family anymore. Don't come here again. When parents are in trouble. That's why I said you shouldn't be born. Stop. I forcefully covered my mother-in-law's mouth. Don't say those words here right now. Don't hurt James any more than this. You are disqualified as a mother. No, you're disqualified as a human being. You awful woman. I grabbed my mother-in-law's collar emotionally. She was coughing violently, but I felt no guilt at all. We immediately closed and locked the door. Sorry, I got a bit heated. Yeah, it was cool. Really? Yeah, it was like a knight in shining armor or Superman. Superman, huh? We burst into laughter at the entrance. Emily is definitely in love with me. Yeah, maybe I've liked you since we first met? No, that's not it. You treated me like a servant. I see. It's a joke that you're in love with me. I'm the one in love with Emily. Oh. Looking at my husband's face, he was blushing. Well, that's understandable. It's the first time I've heard that in over 20 years of our relationship. Hey, when did you start liking me? Maybe during the entrance ceremony in middle school. When you grabbed me with such strength, I thought, wow, this person is brave. Oh, I see. No. But the entrance ceremony in middle school is true. You called me James from a distance without caring about my tattered uniform, and you ran up to me. That was when. Wait, aren't there still 2 people outside? We checked the intercom, and the 2 had disappeared. 2 years have passed since then, and I haven't seen my mother-in-law and sister-in-law since. I was asked about them over the phone by someone I knew once. My husband and I will never meet my mother-in-law and sister-in-law again. That's because we sold that house and moved overseas. The person who called us was the owner who bought the house. He said that my mother-in-law and sister-in-law didn't know that we had sold the house, and without any remorse, they came to that house. We've changed our contact information, and we won't be returning to America for a while. Even if we do return, they won't know our house. It seems like our ties will be completely severed. And now, I'm 4 months pregnant. My husband and I are eagerly looking forward to the birth of our beloved child. Thank you for watching until the end. How was today's story? If you enjoyed it, please subscribe to the channel. See you in the next story.